Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 91. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. And as always, I just want to thank you for being here. Time is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're willing to share and invest your time with me truly does mean a great deal to me. So I appreciate you being here. Today, I just want to remind us of something very important. This is what I call a universal law that I learned many, many years ago, in fact, early on in my coaching career, that I wish I would have known about this law sooner in my life and in my career. And what I'm referring to, I call it universal law, is the fact that we teach people how to treat us. And I want you to really think about that for a minute. We teach people and give them permission on how they can treat us. So if you're in a place where sometimes you feel undervalued, or you might feel disrespected, or you feel like you've been taken for granted, those are horrible feelings to have. And I'm going to say this with a lot of love and compassion. It's because you taught people to treat you that way. You taught them that it was okay to treat you in that manner. So today, I really do want us to tackle this. And if you're feeling those things in certain areas of your life or business, I just want us to take a moment and reflect on how we can change that as we move forward. I know for myself, I think back to my early career as a manager and then an executive manager with Marriott hotels. And there were a lot of times that I felt undervalued. I felt disrespected. I felt like I was being taken, for granted. And I was always pushing the blame on other people. And had I known it was simply because how I taught people that they could treat me was the cause of it, it could have been a completely different experience. And this carried forward into my career with real estate. I would feel sometimes the same way. And I just, until I learned about this rule or this law, always felt like I was a little victim-y, like I was the victim in the situation. When the reality is I created it. It's my own fault, if you'll want to go there. It's really my own responsibility that people felt comfortable enough treating me in a manner that made me feel disrespected, made me feel taken for granted or undervalued. It was all me. And so I want to share with you today a couple of talking points about this for you to evaluate how you're feeling. If you're feeling this way in any of the areas of your business and life, then let's talk about how we can reframe that or recreate it. Because I will tell you, once I learned this, and I learned it as a young coach, so back in 2009-ish, 2010, it changed everything. And I think about my coaching career, how much more enjoyable it's been than previous careers. A, I think it's because I absolutely love coaching, but B, it's because I have taught people and clients how they can treat me. So it sounds a little arrogant, but it's not. It's really about, what I love about this is when you teach people how to treat you, you're putting out to the world exactly what you expect. In like magic, the biggest magic trick in the world, people that are in alignment with you show up. And that's what I love about this. I am very blessed with the business I have right now that is full of people that we have mutual respect for each other and we know how to treat each other. And it's because we did a few of these things I'm going to talk about today to ensure that was a healthy relationship as we move forward. So just understanding this rule of teaching people how to treat you, or this universal law, it really is about your actions, your reactions, and your boundaries dictate how others interact with you. It's not their actions, right? Their actions are a result of yours. Their reactions are a result of what you did. The boundaries that they cross or take advantage of is because of you and the boundaries that you may or may not have set. So this is really important. This whole principle of you teach people how to treat you is rooted really in self-respect and self-awareness. So if you're like me, before I learned about this, you are a little bit of a victim role. Like, I can't believe they treat me like that. I can't believe they didn't see that I had their best interest. I can't believe that they would think that about me. Stop for a minute and just realize that you caused that. And take a minute to just own that. And let's be okay with moving forward and changing that as we go. So the number one thing that you need to do in teaching people how they can treat you is being clear on your boundaries. Right, is setting boundaries, essentially guidelines that you create for yourself or standards that you create for yourself that define acceptable behaviors from others. So you establish these limits, we're protecting ourselves, but you're also showing people how they can expect to be treated back. All right. And I think that's equally as important. So boundaries for yourself are really important, that you establish what you will and will not tolerate. Boundaries, standards, rules, whatever you want to call it. It's really important that you've got boundaries set. So I will share with you an example of a boundary. As a young real estate agent, I was very aware of the fact that every opportunity I had, I needed, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we don't get paid as a real estate agent until you conduct a transaction and you have a closing. That's how we get paid. So I didn't get a paycheck every other week. I wasn't guaranteed any kind of income. I really was loose on my boundaries as to what I would allow clients to experience, meaning call me anytime. You call me at 7 in the morning, call me at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to be Johnny on the spot. And I'm going to answer the call because I desperately need that transaction. And in my mind, I thought that that was delivering a high level of customer service. I mean, you should always be available for people. And I can remember my office manager, this was back in the day at a traditional brokerage. She said, hey, would you ever call your attorney at 10 o'clock at night? Would you ever call me at 10 o'clock at night? And I was like, no, I would never do that. And she's like, so why are you allowing people to do that to you? And so setting some boundaries happened early on in my relationship building with clients. I would let them know, hey, after X time at night, I don't take calls. After X time at night, if you send me an email, great, I'll get back to you the next morning. You're welcome to send me an email. You're welcome to, I think we had texting back then. You're welcome to text me, but just know that I'll get back to you in the morning. It was a boundary. And having set those with my future clients really helped establish how they could treat me. I wasn't 7-Eleven open 24 hours a day. It wasn't okay to intrude on my family time at 9 o'clock at night. And setting that and telling them why was really important. Number two, this whole thing is rooted in self-respect. And so if you don't have self-respect for yourself, others aren't going to respect you and they're going to treat you accordingly. And that has to come from you. You've got to be able to project that you have enough respect for yourself as a person and as a business person that they understand that. So that goes hand in hand with boundaries and letting people know that through your confidence and your conviction in your own worth, that is so powerful when you show up and you exude that your self-respect and self-worth is well established before you enter into any kind of a relationship, whether it's business and or personal. If you don't respect you, people are not going to respect you back. You're going to become the stomping ground for people. You're going to become the punching bag for people. You got to have self-respect and self-worth. So if you don't, I would say work on that through maybe affirmations, through some self-reflection, through celebration and acknowledging your accomplishments. I think sometimes we forget, and I don't know why this happens. I see it happen a bit with agents, real estate agents that I coach, or entrepreneurs, is that they think their last sale is their last sale forever. And they allow themselves to get in that weird space and they lose respect for themselves as a professional. And that shows up and people will treat them accordingly. Number three, that's incredibly important and it may be uncomfortable, yet it's really important in your teaching of people on how they can treat you, is communication. If I don't communicate my boundaries, right? If I don't communicate the standards, if I don't communicate effectively that behavior is not acceptable, then I have not fulfilled my teaching people how they can treat me. Because if I am not willing to stand up and communicate and talk about difficult things, I'm going to get treated accordingly. So effective communication is really, really important. You know, setting your standards with your clients and then also asking them what's important to you. Find out what their needs are, what their wants are, what their expectations are, because this is a two-way situation, right? I can't just communicate what I need and expect it to be perfect. I also need you to communicate what you need, because here's what could happen. You might have a level of need that doesn't match with what I do. And if we don't have that communication early on and resolve it, either figure out a way to continue to work together or part ways because we're not a match, you're going to set yourself up to be treated poorly. You're going to set yourself up for a bit of failure. So communication is really important in this, teaching people how to treat you. The other thing, number 4, that I would say is you owe it to yourself to look at patterns of how people are treating you. So in my early days and in the hotel business and as an executive leader and into my early days of real estate, because I didn't know about this law of you teaching people how to treat you, I continued to have this pattern. I was like, my gosh, I show up at 110%. I always do what I need to do. I go above and beyond. Sometimes I do things that aren't even my responsibility just because I want to help somebody else out and make them feel less burdened, but I still feel undervalued. I still feel dismissed, right? I feel all of those things. And it's the patterns that kept happening over and over and over. So, number 1 is recognize the patterns that are happening and how people are showing up and how they're treating you in a way that doesn't feel good. You also need to do it for those that are treating you in a way that does feel good and see what the pattern is. What did you do differently? Was it communication? Was it standards? Was it your self-worth and self-respect? What was it that is creating those patterns? There's a pattern in everything in life. And part of this is identifying how people are treating you on the regular. If it's just a one-off, it could have been that person's just not a good person. But if it's a pattern that's happening over and over and I'm feeling this disempowerment or this less thanness, if you will, it's a pattern that I'm allowing to happen. So pay attention to that pattern. Identify similarities. These people treat me that way. Why? Sometimes you're going to find out, and this is very interesting, and this is true. I've experienced this as well. When I'm doing something with someone that I haven't done before, and I'm feeling a little insecure about my ability to show up and perform. So whether it's the first time you're selling $1 million house and you've never sold $1 million house before, you've only sold 4, 5, and 6 only. 4, 5, and 600,000, which is great. But now you're in this place. If you don't have your self-confidence in your self-worth, that it's just a house, right? It happens to have a comma in the price, but it's really just a house. If you're not communicating your expertise and why you're the right agent to do this, if you don't have respect for yourself as a foundational piece, and you don't set those same standards, you might be setting yourself up for a pattern of negative behavior. This can happen when you're feeling insecure. Some people call it imposter syndrome, but just think about when you're doing something for the first time that you may be lessening your self-worth. You may be letting your boundaries down because you just don't. You're letting that person take more control. It can happen. I know for me, I've shared this with you. I wasn't raised in $1 million house. I was raised very middle to lower middle class. And when I made the decision in my career that I wanted to sell luxury homes, I had never really spent much time in luxury homes. And so I was scared to death that a luxury client was going to find me because I didn't know what to do. And when they would find me, I didn't have boundaries because I was intimidated by them. You got to hold the space. If this is something you've never done before, it doesn't change. You're going to teach those people how to treat you. You have to hold on to those fundamentals that you've been using for the skill set or the tasks that you do that you are great at. Number 5 is just know that there are consequences if you tolerate negative treatment. So if you've got standards, you've got boundaries, if you've got self-respect and you've got self-worth and you've set all of this up, but you allow somebody to treat you in a negative way, you have just given them permission to treat you like that all the time. There is a huge consequence to that. The first time you allow them to do that and you don't call them out, you don't hold firm to your boundaries, you don't hold firm that you are worth more than that and you're not going to allow people to do that, you have set in motion permission for them to continue doing that. You let them do it once and the consequences are high. So pay attention. The moment that you feel somebody is treating you negatively, you've got to draw on that inner strength to let them know that that's not okay. I had an extreme with this one time with a client that he felt it was okay to yell at me. And I remember he did it. We were looking at houses. He was I will never forget. He was a relocation client. I worked with his wife and kid the day before. They were lovely. And then he entered the picture and he popped off in a house. And I think I was so shocked, I didn't say anything. We got in the car and he did it again. And I'm grateful that I had enough wherewithal in the moment to set him straight and just advise that that behavior was not acceptable. If he chose to do it again, our tour would be over and I would be taking him back to his car. And if he couldn't control himself on the way back to the car, find himself standing on the side of the road. And I had to set that standard. It was a whole different thing. We got back to the car. He was apologizing. He wanted to continue working. And I said, no, get out. And it was because I knew that accepting his behavior once, I put myself at risk. Twice was rewarding him. So just know there's a consequence if you allow that to happen. You got to be strong enough in your convictions to let them know that it's not okay. Truly know that being aware of this one universal law can change everything. The moment that I embraced this and everything that came with it, I looked at having boundaries and standards. That was so important. And I wasn't doing that early on in my career. I was just allowing people to do whatever they needed to do because I needed to get to a paycheck. I needed to get to a closing. I didn't hold myself in a high level of regard with self-respect. I mean, if you're allowing people to treat you in a poor way, you really are not in tune with what you should be about your own self-respect and those foundational pieces. You weren't being effective in your communication. A lot of times I was afraid to draw the line because if I lost that client, I didn't have a healthy pipeline of business. And so I tolerated things and I just wouldn't communicate for fear of turning that person off and turning them away. And I had pattern after pattern after pattern of the same type of thing happening. And I was like, why is this always happening? And it's because I was attracting that person to me because I didn't have the boundaries set. So just know that this is a really empowering law for you to implement into your life and into your business. I am so blessed with the coaching clients that I have, my one-on-one clients. There is such a high level of mutual respect for each other. And that came from doing everything that we just talked about in the very beginning with anybody that chooses to come into my private coaching practice. We have a conversation up front about standards. We have a conversation up front about boundaries. We have a conversation about how we're going to communicate when there's a level of frustration. Like you're frustrated because things didn't work for you. You don't have permission to take that out on me. We have that relationship. If I'm frustrated with them because they're not doing what they committed to do, it's not okay for me to treat them poorly. I am in such an amazing place with my coaching clients, both private and group, because it's very clear what we tolerate in this relationship. And I've taught people how they treat me, and therefore I treat them back with the same amount of respect. So if you're looking to work with amazing people, if you're looking to really enjoy the journey of whatever career you're in as an entrepreneur, or you want this amazing life surrounded by people that are really important to you, this one universal law can and will change everything. This is critically important for you to spend some time with. Because sometimes when we're feeling burnt out, or sometimes when we're ready to just say uncle and throw in the towel because we can't take it anymore, it's 100% your fault. And I'm going to say that to you because I love you all a lot, is you got to look at what you've tolerated and what you've taught people. And if you haven't taught them anything and you're just there to take whatever comes your way, you've taught people how to treat you by being passive, by not standing up, by not setting those expectations. So If you don't like where your business or life is right now for a variety of reasons, this is one way to change it. And it's probably the easiest way to do it. And once you establish this, I promise you, you attract more and more and more of that similar personality, that similar person, whether it's in business, in life, with a spouse, with a friend, with your siblings, with relatives, whatever it is. You start to get into this flow, and people understand when they come into your world what the expectations are, and things are amazing. So reflect on those things about how you're teaching people how to treat you, and I promise you things change. And even if they're good now, they could always be better. So take a look at those things. Are you communicating effectively? Are you clear on your boundaries? Do you have self-worth in whatever it is that you're doing? Take a peek inside, and why not make it the best experience possible? So team, I say this all the time. If this is something that you struggle with and you need some extra help, just reach out to me. I offer a 1-hour free strategy session. You can email me, Tony@rethinkcoaching.com. You can go to the website, rethinkcoaching.com. There's a pop-up box. You can give me your information, and I will schedule a free 1-hour strategy session with you. You can find me on all of the social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. I don't check that much, but the others, you can definitely find me, message me there. Whatever you need help with, whether it's this or something else, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help you. I want you to remember, people treat you the way you taught them to treat you. It's really important that you're clear on what and how you expect to be treated, and to also know that you have permission to eliminate and delete people who don't honor that. The second you honor it, you've set the tone on what's okay and how they can talk to you. Okay, team, go really think about this week. I will talk to you all in a week, and I hope you spend some time really reflecting on how are you teaching people to treat you. We'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.